Hello, Crafty Crandall here, and today I want to discuss the books that I finished in August and also lay out my TBR for September. Now, this is something I don't typically do. I don't anticipate making very many TBR videos with the exception of readathons because I am not one to really plan my books out that far in advance. Also, I don't really schedule my reading as far as like a month is concerned. I don't really have monthly goals as far as my reading, and if I get any amount of books read in a month, then that's great. But in September, I do have specific books that I'm looking to read, so without further ado, here you have it. In August, I had the absolute pleasure of reading The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. Now, this is the sequel to The Poppy War, and let me tell you, it was a fantastic sequel. I absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5 stars, no questions asked. The character arcs in this series are so good. I love the way that the author makes the characters people. Like these could absolutely be real life human beings. They have so many flaws. They, put their hardest work into their ambitions, and sometimes they fail. I absolutely love the development of the characters in this series, and I am so happy that my favorite character played such a huge role. I'm not gonna say who it is because that would ultimately spoil part of it, but my point is, this book was great. If you haven't read The Poppy War, it essentially follows a girl named Rin, who is a war orphan, as she navigates her society trying to better herself and get into this militaristic academy. And further, once she succeeds, as she progresses through classes there and begins learning more about the military and also some of the more fantastical elements of the book, followed by the second part wherein she is engaged in war. The Dragon Republic picks up right where the Poppy War left off, and it is such a wild ride. Like, I could not have predicted where this book went. It took a hard left turn right when I was actually almost getting a little bit, not bored with the story, but like, I had anticipated it going one way, and man, did it take a left turn and just get so good. So highly recommend this series if you haven't read it. It is well worth the read. And also I read the audiobook for The Poppy War, and that was also well worth doing. So if you're interested in all, I highly recommend that you pick those up. The second book that I read in August was actually a reread for me. I read Just Listen by Dessen, and I absolutely loved it. So like I said, it was a reread for me. So I went into it anticipating that I wouldn't like it as much as I had, because it's been 14 years since I last read this book, and I just anticipated that, I've grown out of it. I understand that like Sarah Dessen's books have a lot of similar trajectories across their stories. Like, they all follow different characters with different real world problems, but in a way, like, they all have the same beginning, middle, and end as far as like coming to a resolution within those problems. So I kind of anticipated that I was going to feel like that with this book, because that's how I've felt about a couple of her more recent books, but that was not the case. This book is fantastic. It follows a girl named Annabelle as she goes back to school after a summer in which she faced a lot of problems with her friend group. She is coming into school pretty much alone, and you kind of unfold the reasons for that as the story progresses, so I'm not going to explain why. But essentially, she meets this gentleman named Owen, and they become friends, and as Annabelle is traversing not only her own problems with her friends, but also a lot of her family's problems, wherein her sister has an eating disorder, her other sister is kind of, navigating life outside of their family as she's moved to New York, and just all of the family drama she finds Owen and he really helps her determine methodologies to navigate these scenarios and also just really becomes her friend. So it is a fantastic, really heartwarming book. I absolutely recommend it. This is such a wholesome, like, family-oriented novel. I just really loved reading it again and just escaping into this plot line. It is also an extremely fast read. I think I read it over like 2 days. So, you know, if you're looking for something fluffy, easy to read to pick you up out of like a reading slump or after some really heavy reading, this might just be the book for you. Those are actually the only 2 books that I read in August. I know, terrible booktuber here, hi. But first of all, I really enjoyed them, so what can I say, like, well worth doing. And second of all, that is my life. I have so many creative endeavors and so many things going on that I do not have time to read 24/7. So yeah, my wrap-ups are probably going to be about that small. That being said though, my TBR for September has 3 books on it. And I've chosen these 3 books as I want to do kind of like a blast from the past month, if you will. The 3 books that I've chosen to read in September are Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, and The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. So I have obviously been a Twilight fan in my youth. I am very excited to jump back into the world of Twilight and read it through Edward's perspective. I've heard terribly mixed reviews about this book, so I'm not sure if I'll enjoy it. But regardless, I think that it'll be a fast enough read since I've already read Twilight that I think I can get through all 3 of these books within the month. And I just think that it'll be a lot of fun to like re-escape to all these worlds that I used to know and used to like really be obsessed with in my youth. That said, I never did read all of the Hunger Games. I recently did a movie rewatch and I watched all of the movies again. I was extremely disappointed with the ending of the last movie. So I never anticipate going back to reread the books of the Hunger Games. I read the Hunger Games, I enjoyed it. I read half of Catching Fire and then I put the books down because I just didn't like them. So I'm not gonna reread through the Hunger Games. However, President Snow is one of my favorite characters because I love villains. So I am very excited to hear his side of the story and kind of see his progression and why he became the way that he did. So I cannot wait for that. And I think that it'll just be really fun to be in the world again with respect to at least the movie plot lines. I'm sure that he'll get his own movie eventually, so that will be awesome. And I will actually have read the book, which will be new for me as far as the Hunger Games is concerned. And finally, I cannot wait to read The Truth About Forever again. It is my favorite Sarah Dessen book, and although I've already read it, like Just Listen, I think that I'm really going to enjoy it. I have now dispelled the thoughts that I'm not going to enjoy it because of how much I loved Just Listen. So I'm definitely going to go buy myself a new copy because I gave my copy to a friend the day I graduated high school. And so I haven't had the book in my possession to reread even if I wanted to. So I'm going to go rebuy it and then I will have it to enjoy and read this month in my go back to my childhood month, if you will. So there you have it. There is my August wrap-up and September TBR video. Let me know how you liked it down below. Let me know what you plan on reading this September, and let me know what you thought of the books that I've read, if you've read any of them, down below in the comments. Also, let me know your thoughts on any of the books in my TBR, because I would love to hear your reviews. And if you've made a video, feel free to link me down in the comments below, and I will absolutely check it out. Thank you. Bye.